Okay, welcome to no, what is it? What are we watching here? Bride of Frankenstein review. So in this set, the 30, technically 31 movie set. Also, he's asleep, but this guy is 1 week old. Oh my gosh. Okay, so that was not a flattering view, but he is 1 week old today. So Bride of Frankenstein. Okay, so when I watched this, I got really sleepy. This is the opening scene, by the way. That's a miniature. It looks really good. But I got really tired during it. And then when the movie ended, I was just like, I don't know about that. And I kind of didn't really feel good about it. I was like, I don't like it. And then the special features were like, this is the crown jewel of all the monster movies. And this movie's amazing. And I was just like, what? Am I missing something? What in the world? And so I was so tired when I made the video, or when I watched it. Then I was just like, I think I must have missed some of the like plot stuff. Also, I was pretty disappointed that the monster lady is really not in it. I was gonna say the Bride of Frankenstein, but that is Elizabeth, because Frankenstein is the guy. But I was like super disappointed she really wasn't in the movie she was only there for 5 minutes. So I watched it again, and I felt a lot better about it. So because I had to curb my expectations that she was going to be in it the whole time, because I was super excited for, oh my gosh, there's little baby feet sticking out. Look at that. Anyway, I was super excited for her awesome hair and everything, and hoping that they would do some shenanigans together. But they totally didn't. So anyway, I liked it way more the second time. Also, I was a lot more awake. The plan isn't to watch these all multiple times during this month-long review, but I just felt like I couldn't review it without giving it another go. So, but if you think about it, in the Phantom Menace, Darth Maul's only in that movie for like 7 minutes, and so you have this. I want to say the Bride of Frankenstein. I guess it's a bride that he makes, but it's not his bride. Anyway, she's only in this thing for like less than 5 minutes. That she's in this movie. What else here? Oh, so in the opening credits, just like in the original Frankenstein, when it said the monster ? It said the monster's mate ? So I just thought that was like a spicy reference back to the original one. The opening shot is actually once that we're inside of here, is one of my favorites. Yeah, just right here when it's Percy and Byron and Mary Shelley all hanging out in this really gaudy place wherever they are. But I love this shot right here. Like as an opening scene after looking at the miniature, I thought it looked so cool. Also, I was kind of I was like, why is Mary Shelley and Byron and Percy in this movie? But they're all talking, and then they basically recap the last movie, and it's really, really cheesy, but it really works getting you up to speed on what happened. But one thing that I thought was weird about this part was that while they're talking about the story as if her book is, how do I word this? As if her book is the story that the movie portrayed, but it's so different. So that was really, really odd. But my wife recognized that the lady who plays Mary Shelley is actually Katie Nana from Mary Poppins. So she saw her from across the room and was like, "Who is that? I know her." Oh, that is not focusing right. But if I move, there you go. Yeah, that's the first Nana that quits on Mary Poppins. So that was cool. there's really good music in this movie, and it was pretty continuous throughout, which is different than the last few. So this is the Blu-ray because the 4K is not out for another handful of days, and I will say it looks really good. There's not really too many specks or film damage, and then the grain is pretty stable. Also, the sound is very clean and nice, so the Blu-ray looked fantastic. Okay, I gotta show you this mustache here in just a second. All right, look at this thing. That is a good-looking mustache. I mean, that's not really like a head-on, but like, I mean, I'm getting there. But really like that. Oh, so when Dr. Pretorius is talking, he's like, have some gin. It's my only weakness. And then later in the movie, he's like, have a cigar. It's my only weakness. I just thought that was a really funny line. I just thought it was interesting that that it was Dr. Pretorius's idea to make like a girl monster for the monster. Because I'm pretty sure in the book the monster is like, yeah, you have to make me a wife because you're my creator, so you have to make me happy. So this was Pretorius is not in the book, and it was his idea to do it. So I thought that was interesting. Also, this actually scene right here takes place like immediately after the first movie. Like the timelines actually overlap with each other, so it just continues right into this one. So I thought it was a pretty cool structure to do it. So then this guy's like, I want to see that Frankenstein is dead, and he falls into the wreckage, into the water, and totally gets brutally murdered. And then his wife does too. And look at I just gotta show it. So this guy's like, I have to see that the monster's dead. I have to see it. And then he totally just eats it and falls down there and gets totally murdered. And then watch when this lady goes down there. It's so funny. Okay, she's gonna go down there. And I don't know what else to say. Hopefully I don't get copyright got by this. Okay, here she goes. Watch her head. Here he goes. Watch for it. Oh man, she's head first. Anyway, I love the use of dummies in these movies for when people's bodies just get full on throttled. So yeah, I just wanted to share that. That should be fair use as far as copyright goes. So yeah, the movie's just only been going for a few minutes. Oh look, it looks like the owl's on my shoulder. The movie's only been going for a few minutes, and there's just like 2 super brutal murders. But I do love those dummies. Oh yeah, the housekeeper from The Invisible Man is in this, and she is so screechy. It's like I thought I had escaped her from that movie, but she brings her ultra screechiness to this movie too. And she goes up to the guy after she sees that the monster's alive, and she's like, "It's alive!" Oh, this is my quote, by the way. She says, "It's alive," and he says, "Oh, shut up, you old fool." And it's like, all right, that's pretty like horror movie mentality right there. All right, got it. Just like, don't listen to her. Look at this. This is 11:42. Look at this beautiful shot. These movies are getting very well made. This is one of my favorite like highlight shots. It's not my favorite. We'll get to it. But just look at this thing. Just how the camera is tracking, and just how they're bringing his body in. It's just, they look so good. It must be from the success of the other ones. They're really putting a lot into these, even just like the sets and camera movements. But I just really love that shot there. And then there's a part where the blind guy takes care of Frankenstein, and they both take care of each other. It was actually like really touching that this guy takes care of him, and he tells he tells the monster that if he understands him, to put his hand on his shoulder. So you have a dumb guy and a blind guy, and they're basically caring for each other. So that's pretty awesome. And this is actually the first time that the monster cries in the movie when this guy takes care of him. And then there's an interesting shot where it fades to dark and there's a crucifix above his bed and it stays lit. So there's a lot of interesting Christian symbology in this movie. Oh, there's the actors in this, and actually in a lot of these monster movies, they get seriously close to some flames here. So here's Frankenstein, or I want to say Frankenstein, but he's the monster. Here's his first time crying. This guy's taking care of him. But then I'll show you the flames. But yeah, he's crying there because he's so touched. Dude's taking care of him. And then here goes the fade and illuminated cross. Okay, look how close these actors get to these flames in here. It's kind of nuts. Right here. Look at that. It's like right there. I mean, that'd be pretty hot. And then out here when he runs out of the, so that might, some of these might be like overlaps where they're not actually by it, but there's some of these that in camera that they actually were right next to those flames, and that would be really hot. Look at watch this fireball that comes out of here. It would be really hot. Oh, so I noticed that they switched the Elizabeth actresses for this, and there's a scene where she has some very generous cleavage. I was very surprised because this movie went through a lot of censorship to get out. Dr. Pretorius makes little people, I don't know how else to describe it, in jars, and that part, I mean, the special effects were really good, but it was super cringy on that part, and I was like, what is going on here? What is this part? I did not know what the deal was. Here's a quote from the monster. He says, "I love dead, hate living," and he didn't want to live. And then we give him a reason to live by giving him the prospect of a lady. Okay, actually trivia on this part, when he's running away from the mob and he goes into this cemetery, you see there's like a crucifix in the background. So originally they had filmed him going up to the crucifix and basically trying to rescue Jesus off of there, because he saw a similar situation of where the monster had been kind of strung up similar to that earlier in the movie. So they had him actually go try to rescue Jesus off of the cross. Obviously it's a fake thing. Look, there's more. There's so much. There's like a lot of Christian symbols in this movie, but the censors decided that was way too much and took it out. But I thought that would have been awesome. Would love to see an extended version of this movie. Okay, I'm going to show you my favorite shot. You know, actually, this one might not be my favorite shot, but it's a runner-up. I just like that Praetorius is down there having his little, I don't know, cheese and wine or whatever in the cellar. Okay, here is, there's a shot, a really awesome low-angle shot that just shows the power of that the monster has over Dr. Frankenstein. Right here, where you see how it's a low angle looking up at him. I like that. That's a really good shot right there. I really like that. All right, my wife told me I shouldn't make these too long, but I guess I had a lot to say about this one. So we're gonna move on. There's a part where he runs into a cave and there's like a bat flying in there, like another one of those stringy bats, and I was like, is this a Dracula cameo? I don't know. Maybe. Then they need a new heart for the bride while they're making her, and they send the little like worker guy out to get a new heart from the like accident clinic or whatever, and Frankenstein says to Praetorius, he's like, this is a quote, he's like, there are always accidental deaths occurring, like kind of that he knows that this guy's gonna go out and get a heart like in an unsavory way, and the guy totally, he like corners a lady in the alley, and he comes back with a fresh heart. So I'm like, all right. But when they're building the lady at the end, and they have her heart outside of her body and it's beating, it's almost like a musical beat that's just like going, and it's like the tension of the ending of the movie is just building and building as this heart is just like is beating while they're sciencing really hard. And they are sciencing really hard in there. There's just like all these electrodes and things glowing and sparking and switches. I mean, they're doing science real hard in there. Okay, so part of their extremely hard sciencing is there's like a million Dutch angles in this scene. It's just like the whole scene is just back and forth, like crooked Dutch angles, which I think is a really effective use of these. Unlike in Thor, the first one, they go over the top on that. But this movie, they use a lot of that during that scene where they're building the lady. I thought it was pretty cool. So, the bride does not open her eyes until 1 hour, 9 minutes, and 40 seconds. And this thing is only like an hour and 15 minutes. So she is not in this for very long at all. Here she is. That's her debut. I thought it was cool. They pull the cloth off and you can see her eyes. She's alive. And then of course Frankenstein says his line, "She's alive, she's alive," and it does not hit as well as the first time. I think they tried to just copy it because it was such a success the first time. Then there is a crane shot that I just think is so beautiful. I know I'm showing so many different shots. I mean, the camera's just moving down on this crane shot. It just looks so good when they're kind of trying to escape out of there. The camera goes up and is moving down. Just looks so good. Oh, when the lady finally comes out, her head movements are so jerky. It's so cool. And her makeup and hair is so amazing. Look at her down. And he thinks she's gonna like him, but she doesn't. But I think her head movements are awesome. I made my finger go numb with this on my finger. Here you go. Okay, couple other parts. There's some see-through FX when they're up on the roof. You can see through the people going up the stairs. I thought that was interesting. Also, when they're Frankenstein or the monster says, "She hate me like others." So this is the second time that he cries in the movie after she rejects him. And there's a part when the whole building's blowing up that you can still see Frankenstein inside, even though he got out, because they originally recorded it for him to die in there, but they didn't like that, so they had him make it out, and you can still see him in there if you look. But overall, I actually thought this the second time. I thought this was a great sequel. I felt like after I watched it, the feeling I had is like at Universal Studios after you've watched a show, where you like get up and go out and you like have that like closure feeling, or like after Tower of Terror, where you have this fun scary time and then you're just gonna get up and go. So it's kind of how I felt after this was over. It was just very short and fun. Yeah, it was a lot better once I could curb my expectations knowing that she's not in the movie like at all. It's like there's like 5 more minutes left and she's really not in it at all. My order of movies that I like so far is Dracula's still number 1, And then Invisible Man, Bride of Frankenstein are kind of tied-ish, maybe Invisible Man a little higher. And then Mummy and Frankenstein are kind of 4 and 5. So that's my my ranking of them so far. So I watched the special feature of Creating the Bride of Frankenstein, and like I said, I really want to see the extended version. There's not one, but I think it would be awesome to see that. And one thing I noticed is there's an extreme quality increase. This is 1935. Between the 1931 movies, this is just so much more well made. And you can just really see it like in the music, editing, sound, camera movements, costume sets, everything. But they kept just saying in the special features, like, this is the crowning jewel, and it's a brilliant film, and it's like Citizen Kane. And I'm like, okay, it was good, and it was better than the first one. It's a great sequel, but I'm like, dang, they're really like laying it on this thing, which I guess is kind of their job in the special features. But yeah, I would totally recommend watch it if you liked Frankenstein. Even if you don't like Frankenstein, the beginning of this movie actually recaps Frankenstein, so you don't even need to watch it. But you should. I really look forward to the 4K of this because I think the Blu-ray already looks really good, and I imagine the 4K would just look even better. So thank you for watching. This is a long one. This is our new baby. He's a week old, so thank you for joining us for this movie. This is October 5th, so the 6th, October 6th, will be The Werewolf of London. So I'm very excited. I've never seen that before. So thanks for watching. Talk to you later.